Hi, y'all. Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. I am helping employers and their employees get enrolled on the individual or group plans. Today, we are going to be going over how to look at individual plans without having to touch anything in the system. No information that is personal will be added. Let me do a screen share. And this is going to be timely because open enrollment is around the corner. If you go to healthcare.gov/C-plans/pound/pound, you will come here. This is healthcare.gov. This is for a lot of states, not all states. I'm going to be focused on Oregon. There are other states that are also on the marketplace, but if you have your own state-based marketplace, then do not use this. It will redirect you. It will not let you do it. So if I try doing this is in LA County, it'll say your state's marketplace is go to cover California. So that is very nice. You will know if you can use healthcare.gov or not. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. The first one, I'm going to use the zip code where I live. Here, Wilsonville, we have Clackamas County, Washington County. Frankly, when you're doing a quote, if it's Multnomah County, Washington County, Clackamas County, the rates are going to be the same. It's once you're outside of the tri-counties, like Marion County, even Yamhill County, there's only a couple of zip codes that are similar to Clackamas and Washington County. This will make a difference. I had somebody that said they lived in Bend. I put in a Bend zip code. And then when I gave them the rate, she's all, oh no, I live in Lake Oswego. Well, that's not, Deschutes County. Rates changed, the plans changed, everything changed. So it's very important that you pick the right county. I'm in Clackamas County, so I'm going to do Clackamas County. I'm going to here, once you come here, then you get to tell us about your household. So you click start. Even if you are looking at just for you, but you have family in your household, make sure you do you and other people. And I'll show you an example in a minute. But right now it is going to be single, no dependents, individual. They then click on put in their age. I'm going to say 23 because I was just working with a 23-year-old. We're going to continue. Here, if let's say you forgot to add the spouse or dependent, you can add them here. But in this case, we're just going to continue on. If this individual makes 30, I'm going to start with the lower amount, 25,000 a year, the system will state that they qualify for Medicaid or Oregon Health Plan, and then they can apply. There are assisters that will help with the application process. If the individual though makes 32,000, continue, then they qualify for a tax credit, a tax subsidy. This is an IRS tax law, the Affordable Care Act. So therefore, everything goes through the IRS when you're doing your taxes. You will need to reconcile at the end of the year. So if this individual states, I make 32,000, but at the end of the year, they make 60,000, guess what? They're going to have to pay back money. And if they make less, then they might get a credit. But in this case, it's $299 for a 23-year-old making 32,000. But if that same individual making 60,000, guess what? They have no tax credit. So we're going to go back to 32,000 here. When we do here, not only do they get $299 in tax credit, when we go in here, the rate is the rate. This rate of the Providence Connect plan is $296 for a 23-year-old living in Clackamas, Washington, or Multnomah County. Based on 32,000, they will get a credit of $299. Well, it's more than this. The system will require them to pay something, and that something is 18 cents a month. Now, is this the plan that they would choose? Some people would say, yes, 18 cents, I've got that. However, if it is somebody that needs medical attention, then I would go with the silver level plan, because here it is going to be normally $358.20. They have a credit of $299. They would pay $59.25. But their annual physical is going to be covered in full no matter what plan. The first 3 visits will be $5. And that is something you don't see here. It is just something that brokers know. And if you look into the deep dive, you'll find it, but you're not going to see it. But the first 3 visits are $5. Then it goes to $10 for primary care, $50 for specialist, $50 for urgent care, $10 for mental health, same as primary care. The cost for mental health is always the cost as is your primary care. And then generic meds are $10. Now, this is if somebody is going to Regions at the legacy location. However, If you do not want Legacy Hospital, then maybe you want Kaiser, then you pick Kaiser. But if you want Providence, you're going to have to look, you're going to scroll. MODA is Adventist and OHSU. And we keep going. Here's Providence. This is the lowest cost Providence plan in the silver level. But again, it depends on your provider. So I usually like to look up providers. Use a broker, y'all. This is like high level if you just want to look at something. But if you want to deep dive a little bit more deep into what you need, talk to a broker. I'm available. Go to time2enroll.com. That's TIME, the number 2, ENROLL.com. That is to schedule an appointment with me, and I will help you through this. So that's Providence. And if you notice here, this deductible is $4,000, but yet when it says Connect 5,000, this is a $5,000 deductible. And the max out of pocket is $9,700. That is because this individual of 23 years old makes $32,000. Now, if I make a change to this individual, I'm going to actually, so that way I can find it a lot easier in a moment. Oh, it's hiding. Oh, here it is. We're going to click on that one just so that it's easy to compare. If I go in and I make a change and I say that this individual makes $60,000 and they have no tax credit, when you look at the Connect, it's still $296 here, no credit. And then the silver level plan, now they have a $5,000 deductible and a $9,000 max out of pocket. And their costs for their care has gone up to $40, $60, so it makes a difference. Income makes a difference. The rate is the rate based on their age and where they live. What makes the difference is the credit that they get based on their income, okay? So I'm going to start all over. So that's one example. Now I'm going to show you, again, 97070, I'm going to Washington County, doesn't matter. I'm going to say this household has multiple people. So you say you and other people, and you say, are you married? Well, if you are, they say yes. Reminder, in order to qualify for tax credit, you must file your taxes jointly. If you do not file jointly, you are disqualified from a tax credit. You will be in a world of hurt. When you reconcile at the end of the year and the IRS says, you shouldn't have got that credit, you're going to have to pay back money. And sometimes it's not that big a deal, $500, $1,000. But when you're looking at $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $13,000 because somebody did not state it properly, by all means, don't do that. So if you are married, even if you are not looking for the other person, so you say yes. If you have dependents, you'll say yes. How many dependents? We're going to say 1. We're going to say this person is a 62-year-old. And the wife is 50, and they have a child of 23, I'm going to say 18. And this 18-year-old happens to be eligible for Oregon Health Plan. You still put them in there. And let's say that they're making $150,000. They would qualify for $638 in tax credit for the 62-year-old and the 50-year-old. The 18-year-old, they are not in this. They are on Oregon Health Plan. So then here is, if you notice up here, you'll see where you see the 2 individuals. We're going to use Connect here, $744 after the credit, normally $1,300. If, however, this individual is 23 years old, female, is not eligible for Oregon Health Plan, same income of 100. Now they go from $600 to $1,000 in tax credit. Now that plan goes to $674 from $1,678 with the tax credit, $674. It makes a difference. So income will make a difference. So let's do this one more time. You had a 1,004, but let's say that this family makes, wrong button, 250,000. They only get $292. Big difference. And if, let's say, this individual is actually 60, not 50, now, same income, that credit goes to 634. Because the older the person is, the higher of a tax credit they're going to get based on the household income. So that makes a huge difference. So then we go here, we can do some filters. I'm going to use Kaiser as an example here. And I'm going to go with the standard bronze. If you're looking at bronze plan, really look at a standard bronze across the board, no matter the carrier, because you're going to get more bang for your buck. You're going to have access to doctors, specialists, generic meds, physical therapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, urgent care, all at co-pays. So make sure you do standard bronze if you do a standard plan, or if you do a bronze plan, go with standard plan. I could filter it again to go silver to make it easier for me. I'll then pull this silver 4,000 plan. And then I'm going to go one more, and I want to look at a gold plan. I could just scroll, but why scroll when I could just pick? And I'm going to go with the gold 1750. Here I have it. Here's the amount of this standard bronze plan for 3 people, a 62, a 60-year-old, and a 23-year-old, 2024. For the silver level, 2,408, and then for the gold, 2,634. The credit remains the same across the board, and then the net premium is what is paid. Now, this credit could be taken every month, a portion of it, or at the end of the year. The whole point is to help the monthly cash flow, therefore take it monthly. But if your income fluctuates, you do not have to take the full 634. Maybe you only take $400 or $500. And then when you reconcile at the end of the year, if everything remains as you stated, you will get that money in a form of a refund with your tax return. I know it's a little complicated. You can share this information with others. Here's a little email link. You click the email link, and when you do that, it's going to bring up another screen. You can then send it to somebody. They will get the link to here, which they can then play with the numbers and going, oh, well, you know what? I just got a bonus, or I know something like that. They can play with it. You can also copy the link. You can just do the copy of the link and send it however you want via text message or WhatsApp, or you can print it. With printing, usually you can either print it on a printer, or I usually do this to do a PDF and I email it to my clients. And then I personally send it to them with notes and what have you. And then I put notes all over this. If you want more information on there, please, by all means, Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. Get on my calendar, time2enroll.com. That's TIME, the number 2, ENROLL.com. We'll start the conversation. And remember, open enrollment starts November 1st, 2025 through December 15th, 2025. All right, y'all have a good one. Ciao.